Oh, how to make somebody feel like they've known you forever. This is fucking dope. I know how to do this amazingly. Now, this is saying through pacing and leading. I mean, that's like a tiny, 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 tiny part of this is rapport, right? So how to make someone feel like they've known you forever. And let's speed run it, right? So I was actually at a bar on Saturday and I met this girl and her mom, funny enough. And I was able to charm the mom, and then I'm working on the girl, gaming on the girl, right? And we're talking, and I'm just asking her questions to bring up states that she previously experienced that were extremely positive or overwhelmingly positive for her. So, an example of that could be, and one that I literally did use after that initial rapport was built, right? Was, oh, how do you know when you're falling in love with someone? And girls love this kind of language. Like, they just want to be questioned on shit. They want to feel shit, right? So that alone, like, it doesn't sound weird to women. Women love that kind of language. It's very poetic. But what that question specifically is going to do is have her go inside and then regress those emotions so she's feeling them presently. And then from there, you can amplify that state, which I won't teach you how to do now, but you amplify that state and you can even anchor that to you. So, for example, when I was asking her, okay, where do you feel that? How do you know, right? How do you know when you do fall in love with somebody? At what point do you realize that? These are all questions I'm asking. And I'm like, where do you feel that at? She's like, oh, like in my chest. I think she said it was green. The color was green in her chest. And so I kind of like touched her chest, right? In like while I'm talking, and I'm like, oh, and so you have that like green feeling here when you do fall in love with somebody, right? And I'm kind of like touching her chest a little bit, not like a weirdo, right? You just slightly like graze. Like when you talk with your hands, it makes this easier. You know, it's less abrupt. It's more covert. So then slightly just gazing her like that, and then also anchoring that feeling to me. So just pointing at yourself with your fingers like I'm doing now, that you wouldn't even naturally detect in a normal conversation. But when you do this kind of thing with a state regression, one, she's going to automatically anchor that feeling to you because you're the one asking her. And she's now feeling that in your presence. So people don't remember what you said, they remember how they felt when they interact with you, right? So that's all we're doing here. We're just making her feel positive emotions that are very pleasant. That builds rapport super fast. That's more game than you'll get out of any course, any info product. Somebody should be paying me just for you should be paying me just to watch this fucking video if you ever do. All right. Hypnotic storytelling, planting seeds of desire. Yeah. Yeah, no, hypnotic storytelling is really good. It's essentially, to boil it down, it's using like metaphors in stories to plant certain ideas in the subject. So how the storytelling thing actually works is their conscious mind is occupied on the story, and their unconscious mind kind of is left undefended for suggestions, right? So, for example, I was dating this girl in Buenos Aires, in Argentina a few years ago, who's madly in love with me, partly because of these tactics, right? But one thing that I wanted to establish was I don't put up with disrespect. So I actually told her a story about how me and my friend group kicked somebody else out because they weren't taking care of themselves. They were letting themselves be disrespected by this girl, right? And we talked to him and we had enough. We kicked him out. He's no longer allowed in our lives, right? So obviously the story is much longer than that. And you tell it in a one-on-one perspective, and you do it covertly. You say, oh yeah, like we had this friend, you know, this happened and this happened, and you know what, we don't allow that in our circle, in our friend circle. We would never allow somebody to disrespect themselves or allow them to remain with a girl who is disrespecting them, right? So you're telling her, if you disrespect me, you're not going to be in my life. But the conscious mind is not able to get combative, because if you just said that to a girl, she'd be like, oh well, you know, you need to respect me and all this feminist bullshit. Like if you're trying to go direct with frames and shit, like, dude, don't. Waste of time. Absolute waste of time. So Yeah, you can use hypnotic storytelling to kind of circumvent the conscious mind of like feminism and all this bullcrap that they've been programmed with, to show them things that you want them to be able to see without directly telling them that. Like, hey, if you disrespect me, I'm going to leave you. Stuff like that. Push-pull paradox. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into that. I have a lot of stuff on this. I don't even really want to get into it because that could be a whole video on its own and probably a paid course, because of the push-pull stuff. When you go into deep hypnosis, what you learn with that is actually like a dangerous weapon. It's actually something that the CIA uses, and it's a little bit too powerful to be taught on open YouTube. Like a lot of the hypnotists out there, they will not teach it on open YouTube because, anybody can watch these videos. And with a tool like that, you kind of have to make sure it's not going into the wrong hands, because it could be a little too much. Presuppositions, I mean, that's really easy. So it's essentially in sales, like when you're assuming the sale, right? Instead of asking like, oh, you want to buy it? You're like, okay, what card would you like to use? Right? That's a presupposition. So then all they have to do is, you're asking them not to make a choice between do they want to buy it or not buy it. You're asking them to make a choice on what card they want to use to do the purchase, which in that case is a bit obvious. It's not necessarily covert, but it works in a lot of different ways, and it's kind of like a confidence thing. When you do that with women, it works really well if you kind of have like a dominant frame of being like, oh, we're going to eat. Do you want like Tuesday or Friday? And then they'll be like, oh, like Friday, right? So they're already agreeing to the date. You don't want to use that with women and be like, do you want to do a date or something like that? Like, don't do that. It misses the point. Like, the presupposition is you're already assuming you're getting what you want, and then you are letting them decide a little bit about what you don't care about, right? So you have to buy my product. I don't care what card you put it on. Are you going to put it on a Visa or a MasterCard? Doesn't matter. You're still going to buy. So that's a pretty easy one. Negative commands. Yeah, this one's actually really good. These are all good. These are all good video ideas. I should make fucking videos on these. This is a dope schizo rant. If you want more schizo rants, follow the channel, like, subscribe. If you don't, you're never going to see me again, and you're never going to learn how to control people's minds.